The biggest regret that people have on their deathbeds is that they didn't become all that they desired, that they didn't do the things that they really wanted to because of what people thought, because they were afraid, because they didn't feel like they had the resources. There's always a way. If you're willing to pay the price, there's always a way. Okay? So hey y'all, welcome back to the World of Wellness podcast hosted by your favorite wellness coach, Taj. So today we're going to get right into it. I want this episode to be short and sweet. It's pretty straightforward, but it's important that we kind of go deeper on the subject. So finding your anchor. I want to open this one with our mindful minute, but I also want a prayer for stability for me, for you, for your family. Because when you're working on building something, which is what we're going to talk about today, stability, it should be at the forefront of your mind. And it should be your intention, because whatever you build, you want it to stand the test of time. You want it to stand the test of storms, right? And turbulence. So you want to make sure that you're setting that intention every day. With every action, does this contribute to my stability going forward? Does this contribute to the stability of my foundation that I've been working to build, or that I'm beginning to build, right? So let's get into our mindful minute. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. And so what we do is a mindful minute at the beginning of every episode is kind of a short meditation or breath work. And that's just to ground us into the present moment, myself included, so that my mind isn't scattered, your mind isn't scattered, and we can all be here to be fully drenched in the wisdom from spirit and let the words and the energy speak to our souls and to our hearts. So deep breath in through your nose and through the belly, out through the mouth forcefully. Again, deep breath in. Relax your legs. Relax your hip flexors. Relax your shoulders. You can soften your eyelids. Continue to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. For the next few seconds, I'm just going to say a short prayer. Spirit, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this moment. We thank you for this opportunity to come together in wisdom and learning and peace and healing. I thank you for allowing me to be a part of their soul journey, to help them in their healing, to support them and uplift them when they need it and where they need it. I'm grateful to be able to connect with them and show them that they're not alone in their pain. They're not alone in their fear, in their confusion. And to help them remember that this human experience is filled with many ups and many, many downs. But in the end, our soul is eternal. So there's nothing truly to fear. There's nothing to worry about. When we place our trust and place our faith in ourselves and in the ultimate source, everything works out in our favor ultimately. So I thank you for keeping me through my storm, for giving me the wisdom to share, and for the message that comes through today. Ashe and amen. Okay, let's get into it. So, y'all, I'm thinking back to when I realized what my issue was, my biggest issue in my life. So, for many, many years, I have been trying to create financial independence, financial stability, emotional stability, mental stability. I've struggled with mental unwellness since I was an eighth grader, off and on. I've had bouts of feeling very dark, feeling very scattered, feeling very anxious. And certain events, like when I was a nurse during the pandemic, that triggered me feeling those anxious feelings for the first time. I never dealt with that, but I remember every day before work, I would cry because I was so scared. Like, what if something happens and I'm not equipped, you know, and it's all my fault? And then throughout life, when other things happened that felt like high stakes, it was triggered again. So I realized that I realized that the issue was a lack of stability in every arena. And so, like, my favorite question always to ask is why. I had to dig deep and ask myself, why am I struggling so much with escaping this cycle? In particular, what is it that keeps me going back to square one no matter how far I get? It's like you're tied to a rope that is rubber and elastic. So you can run as far as you want in a direction, and eventually something just snaps you and pulls you backwards. And you're like back before the starting line. That's how my life felt for the past 7 years, I would say, up until last December. It's very, very recent that I've broken the cycle. And that's why I want to share it while it's really fresh, so it's potent, and that the memories are there strongly so that y'all can feel it, and I can feel y'all, and y'all know, like, okay, she's not just talking out of, thin air. This is real life. So I had to ask myself, first, the thought came, this was when I was maybe 2 years ago. I was living in a house, and I remember I was listening to the audiobook Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, which is an excellent book recommendation, y'all. If you're not someone that likes to listen to audiobooks, likes to read books or listen to audiobooks, you can do either one, but I know it's on YouTube. You can find it on there, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. It's not as big as Think and Grow Rich, but in my opinion, it should be like just as big, if not bigger, because it teaches you about the way that the enemy works. And I'm not one that really believes in the devil, but I do believe in dark energies and dark spirits that don't want you to prosper, that are intentional on putting energy toward holding us back and keeping us in our trauma and keeping us in these cycles of poverty, of heartbreak, failed relationships, failed friendships, like just failure and loss and darkness. So I was reading that book, and one big point that he made in the very beginning was about drifters. So drifters are people who just kind of float around life with no real intention. And what the picture that just came into my mind is like a whirlpool. Like they're just floating about and going in circles, in a circle, like that. And they never really reach a destination. They kind of just end up falling off the face of the earth, never having made any measurable or real tangible progress. So drifting happens when you're not anchored to something, when you're not anchored to a goal, when you're not anchored to an intention. That's why I'll open the message with the power of intention, and how before we do anything, we need to set our intention, right? If I'm waking up in the morning, I need to, what do I want to see out of my day? What do I want to create for myself out of this day? So today when I was in the shower, I thought about my intentions. My intention first is to be present, to be at peace with what is. My intention is to trust in where I am in my life and continue to see with my spiritual eyes and hear with my spiritual ears, and not go off of my physical reality, because I want to remember that this is an old manifestation and it's on its way out, so I don't get stuck in it. In the waiting season, in that buffer period, it's easy to feel like no progress is being made, even though you know it is, and you've gotten sign after sign after sign that like it's coming. It's still that humanness in us that makes us doubt, like, is that really, confirm the confirmation. So my intention today was to trust, to stay focused, to be productive, and to be profitable in the markets. And so far, those intentions have been carried out beautifully. So that's the beauty of intention versus, or even a spiritual practice, versus someone who just kind of wakes up, looks at their phone, jumps out of bed, eats whatever they see in the fridge, just grabs for something, and then just goes on about their day. even if your day goes sour, if you set the intention in the beginning of your day to let it be a great day, no matter what, I'm going to have a great day and my day is going to end well, you'll end up having a great day. Like that's just the way it happens, because what you're doing is prophesying it. And it's so powerful to set your intentions aloud or to write them down, because you're prophesying this over your day and over your life. You don't have to prophesy these huge affirmations that feel grand. You can just take it day by day if that's all you can do. Even if you're someone who's really, really in a heavy space right now, you can just set the intention that today, I want to shower. I remember when that was my intention. Like tomorrow I'm going to go outside. Tomorrow I'm going to change my clothes. Tomorrow I'm going to eat something healthy. So getting back to drifting, don't be a drifter, because it keeps you miserable. Because as a human, as a living being, our function is to grow and reproduce. Growth happens when progress is made. So if you're feeling like your life is not progressing, you're going to feel like you're not growing. And if you're not growing, anything that's not growing is either dead or artificial. And you're not artificial. So if you're not growing, then the opposite is happening. You're dying. Your soul is dying. Your body is dying. Your mind is dying. Your spirit is weakening. So that's what made me realize, I'm like, okay, I'm not anchored in anything. So what became my anchor? My intention. My intention was, I want stability in my finances. I want stability in my love life, in my family and friend relationships. I want stability in my mind and in my heart space. And I held that intention for the past 2 years. And more potently, the last year, been focused on stability. Every day I would wake up and that word would just be heavy and fresh in my mind, because I got tired of being thrown like from back and forth. I got tired of, I feel like I'm doing it and then I self-sabotage because I'm not anchored in anything true. So you end up wasting so much energy, time, effort, attention, and you waste so many days, and eventually you get that wake-up call. And for me, that wake-up call was, okay, I'm in this dark season again. And it got so bad to the point where I'm like, okay, the only option, if I'm going to be here and continue this life, is to, these little ants are like, they're all over the window. That happens in summer and spring. And I don't want to kill it. So I kind of want to just let it hang out with us. But I don't want it to be like climbing on the books and stuff. Because when you're just watching this episode and you don't see this part, they're going to be like, damn, she just got ants crawling everywhere. But I love ants, y'all. They're such hard workers. They're so smart. Like, learn about ants, okay? It's going to bless your life. But it's another one. They really want y'all to learn about them. This is why they showing up. But I'm going to let them live. I'm going to let them live. And I'll just put an ant disclaimer on the clips when I clip them up. But anyway, let's move on to, how do you identify and break the cycle? You basically just look at your life and ask yourself, has the past year of my life made any real progress? It doesn't have to be measured by money. Please don't measure it by money. That's important. It's a great goal to have. But if you're a budding entrepreneur and you haven't quite gotten your rhythm, you haven't quite gotten your practice down, your business down, that's not a good metric in the beginning. The metric should be, have I made the phone calls? Have I read the books? Have I found the mentor? Those are the metrics. So you want to make sure that you're measuring yourself appropriately and not against anybody else. So when I make content now, I'm not looking at, oh, this only got this many likes. The metric is intention. Is this in alignment with what I intended for myself? And like Lauren London said in the clip that I posted some time ago, the success is staying in alignment with yourself. She said, even when, like, we tend to see things when they aren't taken in on large levels as failures, but it's not a failure if you stay true to yourself and stay true to your core and held your intention. So even if I put out a podcast episode and it doesn't reach a whole bunch of people, or I post a clip and it doesn't reach a whole lot of people, I don't get down on myself about it anymore, because my intention was pure and I executed with that pure intention. So that's a successful day. Even when I'm doing my trading, if for some reason I misanalyze, which, shouldn't happen. But if for any reason something happens, but in my mind, I enter the trade based off of my rules, that's still a win. Because even then you learn, but it's still a win because you stuck to you stuck to your rules. You stuck to that foundation. You stuck to what's true to you and what you know to be successful for you. So, first thing is defining. Define who you are and decide who you're going to be. And that sounds like some la stuff. I don't even know where that came from. But it's real life. Who are you? Not your name, not your occupation, not whether you're a mother, father, wife, or husband. Who are you? So for me, I define myself as a goddess, first and foremost. I understand that I am a soul, I'm a visitor, I'm not a human. I am having a human experience, and I'm powerful beyond belief. And it's been proven by all of the things I've overcome. I am a soul that is resilient, that is ancient, that is wise, that is beautiful, that is guided by love and freedom. I am a wild soul, and I'm a very passionate soul. That's the way I define myself. And my truth is that I can be, have, do, and create any and everything. And that's any and everything without limits. There are no exceptions. I don't believe that you can come from God and not be God. I don't care. I'm not apologizing for people who are religious. I prefer that. I grew up Baptist, right? I prefer this perspective versus the perspective I was taught to worship a sky father who is going to send me to hell if I don't repent, or is someone who I have to constantly beg for forgiveness. And it's like, being a good person, that's enough. That's why I prefer spirituality. I'm not knocking religion at all, because that's an anchor. That's a way to anchor in faith and foundation. Some people need that doctrine, those strict rules to live by to help themselves feel safe. But I'm someone who, I don't like rules. I like to break rules, because if it works for me, I don't have to walk in line. I'm not going to be rebellious for the sake of being a rebel, but I'm going to be rebellious for the sake of my soul's freedom and living my truth. And that took a lot of growth. So what you have to do is define you for you and define what your truth is. And you have to believe it. It has to be true to you. On some level in your core, it has to be true to you. And that can change over time. Who you are will change over time. I used to be a human who had self-worth issues, who didn't feel like she was worthy. I used to be a human who felt hopeless for humanity and for my people. I've lost hope in life and lost faith so many times, but the size of a mustard seed. And I still do read the Bible, because it's an important text that has a lot of wisdom in there in those parables. If you know how to read between the lines and not take it for like face value literal, it's so much in there that can empower you as a person that is spiritual. In the Quran, in the Tao, and all of those other religious texts. So I believe that we are gods and goddesses. Okay, you can even look at it as you're a child of God. And if you are any of that, then you know that the war is already won. It's just a matter of walking it out. And so what you do with that truth, once you define who you are, once you define what your truth is, you use that to combat the lies that come from the conditioning, the enemy in the mind that's created by society standards for you, society's opinion of what you look like and how you speak and the way you act. So when things start to creep up in my mind that tell me, oh, you're never going to get it, oh, it's never going to happen, you're delusional, or if it hasn't happened by now, what makes you think it's going to happen? Like when those hopeless thoughts try to come back, I combat that, right? Everything I touch turns to gold. I am the head and not the tail, right? I am above and not beneath. Every day I win. Even if I lose, I win. There's nothing to fear. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. By day and by night, I am prospered in all of my ways. I always have what I need when I need it. I always have more than I need when I need it. And that's it. I'm not listening to that noise because that's not me. It didn't come from me. So that's why it's so important to define yourself and define your truth and what you choose to live by. And when you make that choice, like Nipsey said, he was quoting someone else, but he said, would you rather be at peace with yourself and at war with the world, or at war with the world, or at peace with the world and at war with yourself? So that's a question of, would you rather be fake and be accepted, or would you rather live your authentic truth, no matter how unorthodox, no matter how unpopular it may make you, no matter how much people may criticize you? Would you rather live that truth and be at peace within yourself when you lay your head on your pillow at night, when you look yourself in the mirror, when you're on your deathbed? Or do you choose to continue to live by society's standards and expectations of you, when no matter what you do, they're going to find something to scrutinize you for anyway? So I'm a firm believer in standing 10 toes down on what you say. Just like, that's why I love Kanye so much, and I will never stop. It's because he's so authentic to himself, no matter if the whole world is against him. So use that as a daily reminder. So things you can do every day to help you anchor into your new truth and into your new definition of who you are choosing to be this day forward. You don't have to announce it to the world. All you got to do is start walking it out. And then you have to ask yourself, measure yourself by that standard. Is this the way someone who knows they're worthy, is this the way they would treat their body? Is this the way they would talk to themselves? Is this the type of relationship that is enough for somebody like me? And it's not cocky, it's not ego, it's wisdom. Because you have to treat yourself the way you want to be treated. You have to treat yourself the way you see yourself being. I wrote a letter to and this is a great exercise that just randomly came up in my mind, but I wrote a letter to my future self a year or so ago. I was a night nurse, and I was working a shift, and I had a lot of downtime, and something was just like, write a letter. I was really in a hard spot, y'all. And I just wrote a letter telling my future self, like, I can't wait to look in the mirror and to see you and know that I'm her. Like, I'm the woman that doesn't self-sabotage. I'm the woman that wakes up and gets the job done no matter what. Come hell or high water, I make it happen. I'm the woman who is resourceful, who is resilient, who leads with grace and leads with love in her heart. The woman who loves and forgives over and over and over again. The woman who is not afraid to be vulnerable or to live in her truth. And I woke up and I met her. That's intention. That's prophecy. That's creation. That's manifestation. That's alchemy, even in my darkest hour. So hold on to that. So what you can do to stay in alignment, right? We're going to talk about body, mind, spirit. This is how you anchor on a daily basis, right? Once you sit down with yourself and decide who you want to be, who you are, what you want to become, you create a routine that supports that. And then you can start to read certain books that are empowering, read stories of people that inspire you, people who have come from similar backgrounds that you come from, or people who have reached places that you aspire to reach, who have overcome. Because that builds your faith. Reading the Bible, reading other religious texts, that builds your faith. So you want to make sure that you're putting something in there every day that tends to your body, your mind, and your spirit. And then you want to find virtual mentors. So for me, some of the first ones, I followed Coach Stormy for a long time. I don't agree with everything she does, but she's a human, and she has a pure heart. She has pure intention. So her positivity every morning, and her encouragement, that really, like, it kept me going through some seasons, like some very hard seasons. So I still, big ups to her. I still follow her. I still love her. And 19 Keys, I follow him. I follow Earn Your Leisure. I follow Ray Dalio. That's my guy. Like, he's one of those virtual mentors that I really look up to him. And he's so authentic, and I love that. Who else? I said Keys. Earn Your Leisure, that's a great platform to look, like, if you're a black guy or black girl who's into financial literacy and you want to see people who are doing it for the culture, really doing it on a high level. Miss HDIC, I think that's her name. She's super duper encouraging. Tabitha Brown, Sarah Jakes Roberts, Queen Afua. These are all people that, it's like I created my soul community in a virtual way because they're not accessible to me, like, within my physical reach. So it's just, You soak up game, you soak up wisdom, you soak up love and grace and affirmation. You get the words and the encouragement and the belief that like it can happen for me. And every day, if you're filling your timeline with these positive energies, with these knowledgeable people, these people who are constantly reaching to grow and striving to do more for the people, to do more for themselves, you have no choice but to become great. Nipsey Hussle, Kobe Bryant, like I have so many virtual mentors, people whose quotes that are all over everything that I have, because I have to constantly remind myself this is not where you're going to stay, right? And I want you to remember this is not where you're going to stay. Baby, it's a pit stop. There's so much more in store for you. You just got to believe it, and you got to be intentional about your growth. Clear your timeline of negative people. If you got haters watching you and it bothers you, block them. If you still talking to a guy or a girl that you're not really feeling, but you feel like for whatever reason you want to hold on to hope, block them. When you let go of things, you become lighter and you can fly, you can grow, you can be free. But if you stay anchored to what's familiar for the sake of familiarity, you will continue to live in that what's familiar, and it will continue to not serve you. So don't be afraid to let go. Don't be afraid to block people. Don't be afraid to start a whole new social media page. And you owe nobody an explanation. You know you're doing it for your mind, your body, your soul growth. And in the end, they're going to do nothing but follow you again anyway. Like, that's just the way it goes. If you don't choose to move forward, you're going to stay stuck. And you're going to look up in 20 years and you're going to wish you listened to this information. You're going to wish that you really took heed to it, because the biggest regret that people have on their deathbeds is that they didn't become all that they desired, that they didn't do the things that they really wanted to because of what people thought, because they were afraid, because they didn't feel like they had the resources. There's always a way. If you're willing to pay the price, there's always a way. Okay? So wrapping up, follow some virtual mentors, find you some, create a spiritual practice or routine. Break the old habits and build new habits and new life and new self, one action at a time, one day at a time, one intention at a time. Okay, y'all? I love y'all so much. I hope that this was powerful. I felt it. I can't wait to watch it back. I can't wait to share this with y'all. And if it helps you, of course, give it a thumbs up. That helps grow the channel. It helps the podcast reach more people so that more souls can come into the light, so they can get out of their dark seasons. Follow me on IG and TikTok. Of course, feel free to DM me if you need a prayer, if you need a helping hand, if you have any questions or concerns, or you want help building your spiritual practice. You can leave a comment below or DM me and I'll be available to you. Until next time, I love you so much. You are worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy. So go ahead and change your life. It's time. Okay? Until next time, your favorite wellness coach signing out. Peace.